As usual, the Babylon Bee perfectly summed up today's Zelensky Oval Office performance, saying Zelensky tries bold new strategy of insulting the people he's begging for money from. Well, come on, Zelensky's super talented. He's a diplomatic genius, in fact. On the Ukraine deal, his snotty behavior and eye-rolling took a done deal on rare earth to a no deal on scorched earth.
During the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
Playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
You're
playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country.
Now, Zelensky's supercilious air, constantly speaking over the president, was simply dumb on every level. The one person he had to impress today was Donald Trump, and he failed that test miserably. As for Trump's approach, he told Zelensky he didn't want to hear something, and it was called the truth.
Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
you
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment, and you men are brave, but they had to use our military.
Yes. What about
if you didn't have our military equipment,
you invited me
if you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
All true. Now, Zelensky plays warrior in his costume, but he doesn't realize his act is wearing very thin. And his banker, us, well, we're out of money.
The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position.
Now, today was the day that the pro-Ukraine war hawk crowd lost their cause. Look, if you've lost Lindsey Graham.
I have never been more proud of the president. I was very proud of J.D. Vance, standing up for our country. We want to be helpful. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again.
Do you think President Zelensky needs to resign to resume these peace talks?
He either needs to resign and send somebody over that we can do business with, or he needs to change.
Now, Kinzinger, Cheney, Vindman, the whole crowd, their hero, the man who suspended elections in his own country, who basically did away with free expression, who banned thousands of Orthodox churches, came to town with an impudent, hectoring approach, expecting, I guess, to be treated like he was at Harvard's Kennedy School or maybe at the Oscars. Now, think about how other European leaders handled their visits to the White House, leaders who also have some pretty profound differences with the Trump administration.
With this gentleman on my right, and we look forward to keeping that going for a long period of time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Oh, they were gracious because they weren't morons. But any leader, especially a leader who's received, what, about $250 billion? Who's counting? In aid, in arms, and humanitarian aid from the United States, enters the White House and then disrespects the president. Well, then you can bet that the 77 million Americans who voted for Donald Trump will not support any further engagement. Zelensky was like an annoying gnat. He never shut up in camouflage. But by about dinner time on the East Coast, Volodymyr Zelensky had a slight attitude adjustment. On set with Bret Baier, there was still no apology for his rude behavior, but...
So I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
no, I respect President and I respect American people. And if, I don't know, if I think that we have to be very open and very honest. And I'm not sure that we did something bad.
Well, he ended up saying well, he thinks the relationship can be salvaged. He had 2 or 3 chances to say he was sorry. It can be salvaged, and you know he is sorry if there was a misunderstanding. He finally got that out of him. That's all well and good, but the man is still not living in reality. We fund and have funded the lion's share of this war, and we're not funding it any longer. Period. Trump is driving the negotiations here, and so Zelensky needs to lose the attitude.
Do you think the public spat in the Oval Office in front of the media served Ukrainians well today?
I think this kind of spat is I mean this we have. I mean, this is not good for both sides anyway, and I'm very open, but I can't, you know, change our Ukrainian attitude to Russia. And I don't want they kill us for us. You know, this is very, very clear that Americans are the best of our friends, Europeans are the best of our friends, and Putin with Russian, their enemies. And it doesn't mean that we don't want peace. We just want to recognize the reality, the real situation.
But look, I think the spat in public was actually refreshing. Now, all these diplomats, all these globalists, the same people who failed America in negotiations and meetings, Iraq, Afghanistan, throughout the Middle East, they love having it all play out behind closed doors. That way there's no accountability when they screw up. But it was very important for America to see Zelensky's intransigence today.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long.
He knows the show. And sunlight truly is the best disinfectant. And right now, Zelensky and his enablers are the biggest obstacles toward peace.
Well, today was interesting. Zelensky went to the White House and met the fashion police.
Ready close? How are you? Ready shut?
He's all dressed up today.
But everybody was getting along fine. Zelensky was there to sign the mineral deal and start peace negotiations. The first 30 minutes went great. Even the reporters were teasing the Ukrainian about his clothes.
Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest. Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if you do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting the dignity of this office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something like this.
Something like
Yes,
yours.
sir.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better. I don't know.
I do like your clothing, by the way.
Yeah, really?
Even though I think he's a great guy, by the way. But I don't know if you two like each other. But you know what? I think he's dressed. I think he's dressed
I like
beautifully.
this guy. I don't. Know
I think
him.
he's dressed beautifully.
So.
Everyone seemed friendly, about to eat lunch, just doing what they do. Then, for some reason, Zelensky got an attitude.
I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes.
The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president.
What the heck is Zelensky doing giving us a history lesson like we don't know Putin's a snake? We know Putin's violated deals before under Democrat presidencies. What good does it do Zelensky to call us naive? We're not naive. If anyone's naive, it's Zelensky. He didn't even think Russia was going to invade, even when Biden's CIA was like, guy, they're going in. And if you don't think you can do a deal with Putin, then why are you even here? Joe Biden's in Delaware. This is a new group.
Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
Well, first of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
Playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
You're
playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the lives of
war.
millions of people.
You're
gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
Is he playing cards or Russian roulette? Who does he think he is coming here in front of the cameras and telling our president that if we don't sign a security pact, we're next? We're not doing a security deal with Ukraine. That's why they're not getting into NATO. NATO doesn't want them in NATO. That's a trap. That's going to trigger World War III. The mineral deal is the security deal, because if Americans are in Ukraine doing business, Russia's not going to start shooting at our contractors. Ukraine's in no position to negotiate terms. We're in charge. We'll tell Zelensky what the terms are. He can either accept it, fight Russia himself, or go look for another sponsor. And good luck, because the Europeans aren't going to cut it. And I get it. I have respect for Zelensky. His country got invaded. He didn't flee. He stayed and fought. Ukraine fought. They fought hard. They fought the Russians to a stalemate in the east. An amazing job. But now it's trench warfare, and they're dug in like World War I. And the Ukrainians don't have the bodies to throw into the front lines like the Russians do. That's why Zelensky wants to end it. The Europeans want to end it. We want to end it. And Russia does too. That's why they're at the table. A proxy war that goes nowhere. Is that in America's best interests? Zelensky didn't read the room. He didn't even say thank you.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you can...
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this.
Don't tell the vice president he's speaking too loudly. He can speak however he wants to in the White House. Have you ever seen a foreign leader come into America and talk this way? And everyone knows if Zelensky had come in, signed the deal, showed some gratitude, it would have gone a long way. And it would have reminded the American people that Zelensky is a victim. We could have sympathized with him, and we do. His country's been under attack. But we saved Zelensky's life. We saved his country. And it was an honor to save his country. And if you want to have an attitude because war's hell and you're fighting for your survival, I get that. But do it in private. What do you think was going to happen if you're going to do this in front of the press? You think Trump's going to let it fly? So if you weren't ready to sign the deal, why'd you fly here? And if you didn't like the language of the mineral deal, have your team hash it out with us. Push the trip back a week, and then fly over. Don't fly here saying you're going to sign on the dotted line and then argue about what's not in the deal on TV.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
you
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
Yes. What about
if you didn't have our military equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
Zelensky was already on thin ice. And now he's going toe-to-toe with Trump like this is some kind of debate. We're not here to debate. You can debate behind the scenes. You can debate at lunch. But if you debate in the open like this, you're going to lose because Ukraine has no leverage. The minerals were their only leverage. And without those, you're not getting a peace deal. At a certain point, it didn't even look like Zelensky wanted peace.
You tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me.
For you what,
that wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful.
Zelensky wants guarantees. I would too. But Russia invaded under Bush, under Obama, under Biden. Putin never invaded under Trump. And Trump's saying, I'm the guarantee. And if we have Americans in Ukraine excavating minerals, that's a double guarantee. And if push comes to shove, something tells me that American weapons are always available. Zelensky's not going to get a better deal than that.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Netanyahu might have had it out with Biden, but he didn't come into the Oval Office and point his finger in his face. After World War II, the French and the British didn't dictate terms to the Americans. We said, get rid of your colonies. Here's the Marshall Plan. Here's how you're going to pay us back. This is the New World Order. Do you think Karzai in Afghanistan came to the White House and lectured Bush on live TV? Zelensky really screwed up. Even the Ukrainian ambassador couldn't watch. Zelensky's never done a deal like this in his life. Trump's had a lifetime of doing international business deals, and he's a two-term president. He did the Abraham Accords, renegotiated NAFTA, the China trade deal. He's getting hostages back all over the world. He has his party in lockstep, and he has tycoons from all over flying to Washington to announce billion-dollar investments. And what, Zelensky's jumping up and down and picking fights? What's that going to do? What's gotten into this guy?
The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing.
Trump and Zelensky were supposed to have a joint press conference afterwards. Didn't happen. They were supposed to have lunch together, too. But Trump kicked Zelensky out of the White House. And the White House staff ate Zelensky's lunch.
We had a meeting today, as you know, with President Zelensky, and I would say it didn't work out exactly great from his standpoint. I think he very much overplayed his hand. We're looking for peace. We're not looking for somebody that's going to sign up as strong power and then not make peace because they feel emboldened, and that's what I saw happening. I'm looking for peace. We're not looking to go into a 10-year war and play games. We want peace. And it was just my impression that if we do that, if we sign up, he's looking for something that I'm not looking for. He's looking to go on and fight, fight, fight. We're not going to keep fighting. You're going to get the war done or let them go and see what happens. Let them fight it out.
Zelensky messed up so badly, he lost Lindsey Graham.
What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with. The way he handled the meeting, the way he confronted the president was just over the top.
This was a diplomatic catastrophe for Zelensky. Without the White House and Republicans in Congress, Ukraine's toast. Zelensky knows that. But for some reason, he didn't have the emotional intelligence to behave that way. So talks are off for now.
What does Zelensky need to do to restart talks with you?
He's got to say, I want to make peace. He doesn't have to stand there and say about Putin this, Putin that, all negative things. He's got to say, I want to make peace. I don't want to fight a war any longer.
Zelensky was just on with Bret Baier and somehow made it worse.
Do you think you owe an apology to President Trump?
I'm just telling that I think that we have to be on the same side, and I hope that the president on our side together with us, and that is very important to stop Putin.
So I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
No, I respect the president and I respect American people, and if I don't know if I think that we have to be very open and very honest, and I'm not sure that we did something bad.
He just got kicked out of the White House before lunch, and he's not sure he did anything bad. Does Zelensky not understand Donald Trump at all? Was he not briefed before this? Manners mean everything to the president. Thank you means a lot to him. I'm sorry would have really helped here. Our country saved your life. Zelensky owes us everything. He had the same issue with Biden. Biden's team had to coach him before he got on the phone. You need to be more gracious. You have to stop making so many demands. You have to say thank you. And he'd get on the phone and he'd misbehave. And it drove Joe nuts. And it's driving Trump nuts, too. In any business meeting, you have to understand if you're the junior partner in the deal. You got to act like it. Obviously, the Democrats saw the president standing up for American interests and took the side of the others.
What we just witnessed between Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and President Zelensky inside the White House was an ambush. It was a planned ambush designed to embarrass President Zelensky in order to benefit Vladimir Putin.
What a complete and utter mess. And this is a gift to Putin. We don't gain anything by acting like bullies. And this is what bullies do. And just because you act this way, by the way, it doesn't mean that you're tough.
The president of the United States is a coward who is Vladimir Putin's puppet. And the vice president of the United States is a pogue and a coward who is Donald Trump's puppet. And so what we just witnessed was a meeting in the Oval Office between two cowardly puppets and a hero.
This is just meaningless sloganeering. What is the Democrats' plan for peace in Ukraine? They don't have one. What's the Democrats' plan to win the war in Ukraine? They don't have one. The Democrats' only plan is to keep doing whatever Joe Biden was doing, which was fight an unwinnable, endless proxy war. Give the Ukrainians just enough not to lose, but not enough to win. And if you do give them too much, it starts a nuclear war. How is that strategy in America's interest? Ending the war is in our interest. It'll lower energy prices, give us access to a new market for minerals, pay down our debt, buy us time to build up our own armaments, which we're depleting, force the Europeans to get some skin in the game and pull the Russians away from a deeper alliance with China. Oh, and save millions of lives. American presidents for decades cut arms deals with the Soviets. Does that make us Russian puppets? The whole thing's so stupid. This is just about what it takes to get a done deal.
You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal? That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with.
Does this mean Zelensky's been deported and isn't allowed back into the country? No. Sometimes you have to break up to make up. A lot of relationships go through ups and downs and people get back together. A lot of deals blow up before they're eventually signed. Hopefully, this is just a bump in the road.
And welcome to Hannity. And tonight, one thing is perfectly clear. If there was ever any doubt American strength on the world stage. It is back. It is back big time. President Trump will always stand up for you, the American people, and he's going to put America first. We're not going to be disrespected. We will not be swindled. We will not be bullied. Today, the Ukrainian president, Zelensky, frankly, in many ways disgraced himself, lost an opportunity of a lifetime to stop the death and destruction of his country, and he did it on the world stage. President Trump graciously invited him to the White House for a key minerals deal that he promised to sign, linking our two countries together with a long-term agreement. President Trump even offered to reset relations after Zelensky, you might recall, actually campaigned for Kamala Harris on the campaign trail. Now, keep in mind, Ukraine has received a steady flow of your hard-earned taxpayer dollars and equipment from the U.S., including under Donald Trump. But under Biden and Harris, hundreds of billions of dollars, and not all of it accounted for, far more than any other country in the world, including far more grants than the entire continent of Europe. But in the Oval Office, while the cameras were rolling, Zelensky, seemingly ungrateful, combative, entitled, and apparently Zelensky's ego seemed more important than the war-torn people in his own country. And his behavior is something I'm betting he's going to regret for a very long time. Take a look.
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world.
We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict. And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
Have you said thank you once? This entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you?
Even today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you can...
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment, and you men are brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment, if you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards, but without us, you don't have any cards.
Given a chance today, he had a chance to sign a mineral deal that would lead to a very strong relationship with the U.S. After that, hopefully a ceasefire, then a negotiated settlement that would have been in the Ukrainian people's best interest and should have been the president of Ukraine's goal. Instead, too much arrogance, the president of Ukraine seemingly ungrateful for the hundreds of billions of U.S. tax dollars used to fund this war. Coming in, he wanted to dictate to the U.S. how he wants the more aid to come in further, how President Trump should take his side, which would only drag all of this out, and that would mean more death, more destruction, and a risk to the entire continent of Europe. As a result, Ukraine's president was then booted out of the White House by the National Security Advisor Michael Waltz and Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Ukraine's ambassador to the U.S. held her head in shame. Lunch was canceled. A joint press conference also canceled. The signing of the minerals deal is off the table for now. The State Department has even already terminated funding for Ukraine's energy grid restoration, and President Trump instructed Zelensky to come back when he's ready for peace. And by the way, if there is a next time, you might want to put on that suit. It is the White House. Take a look.
Why don't you wear a suit? Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if you do you own a suit?
Yeah, you have problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting
I don't
the
have
dignity of this
such.
office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something like this?
something like
Yes,
yours.
sir.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
President.
Now, you need to keep in mind, historically, this is not the first time that Zelensky has disrespected the U.S. You might recall Joe Biden reportedly lost his temper with Zelensky because of his insulting behavior, his lack of gratitude. Apparently, the president of Ukraine needed a wake-up call. This isn't Europe. Donald Trump was able to do something that Biden and Harris were not able to do, and that is bring Vladimir Putin to the table. He has stated publicly he wants peace and this war to be over, as did President Zelensky. So today was a golden opportunity for Ukraine, all of Europe, and Vladimir Putin and Russia to stop all the death, all the destruction. And that opportunity passed over today. And by the way, the U.S. has now demonstrated over and over again under Donald Trump we can and we will defend ourselves regardless of what happens in Ukraine. And for the record, the oceans are not our only protectors. We have the most powerful military the world has ever seen. We own the sky, we own the seas, we own outer space. And President Trump is dedicated to producing the next generation of weaponry, including, as he often speaks about, an Iron Dome that will one day perhaps save millions of lives, and our logistics are unmatched. We don't need Ukraine. They do rely on us, and they have been as successful as they have been because of the hundreds of billions of dollars of your money that has been spent on this war that has ended right now in a stalemate. The American people stop paying that money, they will be in an awful position. You have generously supported them financially, militarily. We've offered humanitarian aid. And this, of course, in their brave fight against a truly malignant Vladimir Putin. Nobody disputes that. If this keeps going, there's not going to be a country left. So let's be clear. Zelensky's behavior today at the White House, it's unacceptable. But don't take my word for it. On X, one of Ukraine's biggest supporters in Washington, Senator Lindsey Graham, posted this: "Unfortunately, America was disrespected and the deal is off. I have never been more proud of President Trump, Vice President Vance, for standing up for America first." And then Senator Graham went to the microphones, had this to say. Take a look.
Most Americans witnessing what they saw today would not want Zelensky to be their business partner, including me, and I've been to Ukraine 9 times since the war started. I met with him this morning. President Trump I talked to last night, he was upbeat about the deal. I've never been more proud of President Trump for showing the American people in the world you don't trifle with this man. And the question for me, for the Ukrainian people, I don't know if Zelensky can ever get you to where you want to go with the United States. Either he dramatically changes or you need to get somebody new.
Wow, powerful words. Now, feel free to turn off the noise on fake news CNN, MSDNC. In 1986, you may recall a similar cast of characters. They were in a state of panic. Remember, Reagan walked away at the table from Reykjavik in the summit with the Soviet Union over the issue of SDI, strategic defense, mocked by the media, Star Wars. Maybe now we'll call it the Iron Dome. Ultimately, Reagan's tough negotiations led to a peaceful end to the Cold War. And now Zelensky is already trying to clean this disaster up on X, writing, quote, "Thank you, America. Thank you for your support. Thank you for this visit. Thank you to the President of the United States, Congress, the American people. And Ukraine needs just and lasting peace, and we are working exactly for that." Apparently, he even tried to come back to meet with Trump at the White House. Take a look.
I want anybody that's going to make peace. If he's capable of making peace, which he may or may not be, but I want somebody that's going to make peace. Again, he doesn't have the cards. When we sign up, he's got all of the cards. That doesn't mean he can fight. He's got to stop the fighting, stop the death. Well, he says he wants it now. He wants to come back right now, but I can't do that.
Meanwhile, Zelensky did sit down with our very own Brett Baer on Special Report, and this is what he had to say.
So I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
No, I respect President and I respect American people. And if, I don't know, if I think that we have to be very open and very honest. And I'm not sure that we did something bad. I think maybe sometimes some things we have to discuss out of media, with all respect to democracy and to a free media. But there are things that where we have to understand the position of Ukraine and Ukrainians. And I think that is the most important thing. Yes, we are partners. You know, we are very close partners. We have to be fair. We have to be very free.